Yo, what's going on, guys? CultofMush back at it with another video, and in this video, I want to go over my top 5 most anticipated PC games for the rest of 2016. Now, what you guys are going to notice with this list is the majority of the games are multi-platform. Actually, every single one of these games are multi-platform. I'm going to be playing them on PC. I'm sure they'll play the best on PC, but the reason why there aren't any PC exclusives on this list is because the ones that are coming out at the end of the year, I'm not really excited for. Civilization 6 is gonna be a massive game on PC. I've said it before, not a big fan of the Civilization games. Same thing with Planet Coasters, not really my cup of tea. I was really looking forward to Mountain Blade 2, but it doesn't look like that'll make 2016. Squadron 42, we know the history with that. That probably won't make 2016 either. I know it's currently tentatively listed for 2016, but honestly, it's October 3rd. If you don't have an official release date at this point, I can't really say with all validity that that game is gonna make 2016. So that being said, that's why this list is very console oriented. There are some cool PC exclusives I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited for, like I said, Civ 6 and Planet Coasters, but just not my cup of tea as far as those games go. So with that being said, let's get right into this with number 5. Number 5 is Mafia 3, and this was a game that I was very excited for. I absolutely loved Mafia 2. I thought that was a great game. But as we've seen more and more footage and as more information about Mafia 3 has come out, I find myself getting less and less excited for it. Don't get me wrong, still very much looking forward to the game. But looking at recent gameplay, this game does not look like Mafia 2. It looks more like GTA. And don't get me wrong, I like GTA, but the reason I liked Mafia 2 so much was because of its gritty setting, and because it was a more slower-paced, methodical game where Mafia 3 looks very action-oriented, it looks very big budget, and I'm sure that caters to a wider casual audience, but for me, I don't know, I'm a little bit tentative on the game right now, especially because it was recently announced that 2K Games will not be sending out pre-release copies of the game for review. I don't really care about getting a pre-release copy myself. 2K have sent me games in the past. That's not the big issue, but a lot of times when developers don't send pre-release copies of games, we know there can be some not so good outcome. Now, this isn't always the case. I believe for Doom, nobody got a pre-release copy, but Doom was a really good game, so it's not always the case, but a lot of times that is the case. I just hope that Mafia 3 will turn out well. It is now an open world game, which again, there's so many games that are open world now. It's just what the casual consumer really likes. Honestly, I preferred Mafia 2 being in a contained environment, but hopefully with Mafia 3, it can be something good. Still excited for it, but that excitement has been diminishing in recent weeks. Number 4, Titanfall 2. Now, Titanfall was a game that I like. I definitely saw that the game had its issues, mainly on the content front. There wasn't a lot of content. It was a fully priced $60 game, and the multiplayer was lacking. It was fun for the time that I put into it, but it just got very stale very quickly. I was able to put up with it a lot longer than most of my buddies because I was so into mechs. I love mechs, and the idea of playing a multiplayer first-person shooter where you're piloting these mechs, that sounds like a game that I would get really into. But with Titanfall, it was fun, but the content was severely lacking, especially because there was no traditional single-player campaign, which for a $60 game, come on. Give me a single-player game. I don't care if it's multiplayer focused. They did the same shit with Star Wars Battlefront. DICE did, obviously. Respawn didn't develop Star Wars Battlefront, but you get the idea. I just don't mess with that. If you're gonna charge $60 for a game, you gotta give me a single-player campaign, and that's what Respawn's doing with Titanfall 2, so that's very exciting. I don't know how good that single-player campaign will be, but it'll definitely be better than having none at all like it was in the first Titanfall. Obviously, with the sequel, there will be a lot more improvements made to the multiplayer, new game modes, new Titans, and hopefully it just makes the overall experience of Titanfall a more lasting one, because I noticed with Titanfall, there was a lot of hype when that game came out. So many people bought it, and literally within 2 weeks, the servers were empty on PC. It was crazy to me. With Titanfall 2, I just hope a month after release, it's still alive on PC, but that might not happen because Battlefield 1 is also coming out. So EA is definitely competing with themselves on what first-person shooter is going to be the one that a lot of PC gamers play. Speaking of Battlefield 1, number 3 is Battlefield 1. Very excited for this game. Really enjoyed the beta, ran really well on my PC, and I know a lot of people are skeptical with Battlefield moving to the World War I setting. Honestly, all it is a change in the code of paint that it's using. It's still Battlefield at the core. When you play Battlefield 1, if you haven't played the beta, me playing the beta after playing it for for like 20 minutes, I'm like, alright, this is still Battlefield. Some changes in weapons, destructibility, but at the core, this is very much a Battlefield experience. And the core of Battlefield, I think, is pretty good, but it was just getting a bit stale with Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline, so I think that new coat of paint is gonna go a long way with at least making the experience at first a bit different. I spoke on the beta, that ran really well for me. I hope this isn't something like Battlefield 4 where the beta ran really well and then when the final game came out, everything went to hell. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And I really do believe that this is the first year where Battlefield has a legitimate opportunity in dethroning COD. I believe the COD Infinite Warfare trailer is like the most disliked trailer in recent memory, and the Battlefield 1 trailer is pretty well liked. Do I think that Battlefield 1 will beat Call of Duty Infinite Warfare commercially? Probably not. A lot of people expected that with Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 3, and Modern Warfare 3 beat Battlefield 3 by sales by quite a margin. Regardless, I don't really care about sales. Battlefield 1 should be a pretty good game. Let's just hope it launches well on PC. Number 2, Shadow Warrior 2. Yes, I am ranking Shadow Warrior 2 above Titanfall 2, Mafia 3, and Battlefield 1, and if you've played the first Shadow Warrior game, you know why that is. Shadow Warrior was just a blast of a single-player game. I love that game so much. Yes, it's not a super serious game, but it is very stylish, and the gameplay is just so enjoyable, and it's a game that I find myself always going back to. If I don't see any games in my library that I really want to play, Shadow Warrior is one that I always have downloaded. I'll be like, hey, let's go play some Shadow Warrior. And with Shadow Warrior 2, it looks like developers Flying Wild Hog are just amplifying that experience. Now it's not as much linear, and there's gonna be a lot more weapons, and there's a cooperative mode this time, which will let you and 3 other people go through the single player mode, so that's definitely a nice addition. If you haven't played the first Shadow Warrior game, it's a game that I always recommend whenever it's on sale and I do one of my PC game deals videos. I'll always be like, yo, go check out Shadow Warrior. You can get it at times for like $3. It's a really good game, really enjoyable game, and after you play that, you'll probably be as excited for Shadow Warrior 2 as I am. Finally, number 1, Dishonored 2. Yes, I know a lot of people aren't really that excited for Dishonored 2. I don't know why that is. Maybe for some, it just looks a lot more of the same, too much of the same, but I really can't complain about that because Dishonored was probably my favorite game of 2012. Love that game so much. I just thought it gave the power to the player, and that's really what I want out of a video game like Dishonored. And really, it's what I want out of video games in general. I want to be empowered. I want the decisions on my hand and how I want to play. And that's what Dishonored offers. You can go and run and kill everything, or you can take the more silent approach. And with Dishonored 2, there's gonna be more options in how you upgrade your character of either Corvo or Emily Caldwin. Yes, there's 2 different characters in this game, and the developers Arcane Studios have actually said if you want to get the most out of Dishonored 2, you gotta beat the game multiple times, and I always like that in games. That's why I love Deus Ex Human Revolution so much, is because to get the most out of the game, you really have to play it 1, twice, even 3 times. And with Dishonored 2, that's gonna be even more so the case because you have 2 different characters to pick from. Again, just like Shadow Warrior 2, if you've never played the first Dishonored game, I would highly recommend you to play it. That game did really well commercially, so you probably have at least played it at some point. But if you haven't, you can get it for real cheap during like a Steam sale or during at any point really. I'm sure GMG or GOG has got a decent deal on it like every other week. So definitely check out the first Dishonored game, but Dishonored 2 is shaping up really nicely. Yes, it's more of the same, and I can understand why it's not blowing everybody's world away, but I really like Dishonored probably more than most people, so I'm very much looking forward to Dishonored 2. And I think it has potential to be a real sleeper hit, which is surprising I'm calling it a sleeper. Again, the anticipation just doesn't seem to be there for this game like I would have imagined, but that doesn't really bother me. I'm still really looking forward to it. So that wraps up my top 5 most anticipated PC games for the rest of the year. What do you guys think? What are your most anticipated PC games? I know there's probably a slew of comments saying Civilization 6. I definitely feel ya. I know why a lot of people are looking forward to the game, just not my cup of tea. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, you can also leave that in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.